The scent of marinara sauce and fresh basil hit me the moment I pushed open the heavy wooden door of Bella Rosa, my grandmother's restaurant for 42 years. These same aromas had welcomed countless customers, but for me, they meant home. Sophia, my grandmother's voice, still strong despite her recent hospital stay, called from her usual spot, a worn leather booth near the kitchen where she could oversee everything. "You came." I hurried over, carefully helping her stand for our ritual hug. At 82, Nana Rosa was frilier than I remembered, but her eyes still sparkled with the same fierce intelligence that had built this place from nothing. "Of course I came," I said, sliding into the booth across from her. "Your message sounded urgent." She glanced around the busy dinner service, lowering her voice. "Your cousins Marcus and Anthony, they've been coming around more often, asking questions about the restaurant's paperwork." My stomach tightened. Marcus and Anthony had never shown interest in Bella Rosa before, except to borrow money from Nana when their various business ventures failed. "What kind of questions?" "About deed ownership. About accounts." She pulled out a thick envelope from her purse. "That's why I need you to take these before they try something." Inside the envelope was a power of attorney document, already notarized, along with copies of the restaurant's deed, accounts, and operational licenses. "Nana, are you sure?" She reached across the table, gripping my hand with surprising strength. "You're the only one who loves this place like I do. The only one who understands what it means. Those boys, they only see dollar signs." I started to respond, but a coughing fit overtook her. It lasted longer than it should have. "You should be resting," I said, helping her sip some water. "Not working." "This place keeps me alive," she smiled weakly. "Promise me you'll protect it, Sophia. No matter what." "I promise," I said, tucking the envelope into my bag. "But you'll be here to protect it too." She patted my cheek the way she used to when I was little. "Just make sure those papers stay safe." That was the last real conversation I had with my grandmother. 3 days later, she was back in the hospital. 2 weeks after that, we were planning her funeral. I was in Seattle finalizing details for a major software project, my actual career, when the call came. Nana had passed peacefully in her sleep. By the time I got to the airport, my cousins had already taken charge of everything. The funeral was a blur of black clothes and casseroles, of relatives I barely knew sharing stories about a woman they rarely visited. I noticed Marcus and Anthony huddled in corners, whispering with various family members, but I was too grief-stricken to care. It wasn't until a week later, when I went to check on the restaurant, that I realized something was wrong. The lights were off. The closed sign hung in the window, unusual for a Thursday evening. Through the glass, I could see chairs stacked on tables. My key still worked. Inside, the silence felt wrong. No sizzling from the kitchen. No clinking of glasses. No chattering customers. Just empty space and fading aromas. Looking for something? I spun around. Marcus and Anthony stood in the doorway, matching smirks on their faces. "Why is the restaurant closed?" I asked, though something in their expressions told me I wouldn't like the answer. "Sold it," Marcus said casually, as if he were discussing the weather. "Got a great offer from developers. They're turning the whole block into luxury condos." The world tilted slightly. "You what?" "Sold it," Anthony repeated, slower this time mockingly. "We're executors of Nana's estate. Time to move this property into the modern era." "You can't sell it," I said, my voice steady despite my racing heart. "You don't have the authority." They laughed, actually laughed, sharing a look that made my blood boil. "Already did, cuz." Marcus grinned. "Papers are signed. Money's in the bank. Deal's done." I reached into my bag, fingers finding the envelope I'd been carrying since that last dinner with Nana. "Actually," I said, pulling out the power of attorney documents, "you didn't." Their smirks froze as I laid the papers on a nearby table. "Full power of attorney," I explained, enjoying the way their faces paled. "Granted to me 2 weeks before Nana passed. Legally notarized." Which means, I smiled, you just tried to sell property you had no right to sell. And those buyers? They're going to want their money back. The silence that followed was absolute. Even the traffic outside seemed to pause. "You're lying," Anthony finally managed. "That's not possible." "Call your lawyer," I suggested. "Better yet, call the buyers. Let them know they just got scammed into purchasing property from people who didn't have the legal right to sell it." Marcus lunged for the papers, but I was faster, sliding them back into my bag. "Already filed copies with the county," I said. "And my lawyer. And the restaurant's corporate attorney. Want to guess how many laws you just broke?" "We're family," Marcus sputtered. "You can't." "Family," I cut him off. "Family doesn't sell their grandmother's legacy without even waiting for her body to be cold. Family doesn't try to pocket generations of hard work for a quick profit." "The developers offered $5 million," Anthony said, as if the number would change everything. "Be reasonable." I walked to the wall of photos near the entrance, decades of memories captured in fading photographs. Nana's parents opening the original pizzeria in 1947, Nana taking over in 1981, expanding it into the full restaurant it became. Me, age 6, standing on a step stool to help make breadsticks. "This place isn't for sale," I said quietly. "Not now. Not ever." "You'll regret this," Marcus threatened. "We've already spent some of the money. The developers won't be happy." I turned back to them, channeling every ounce of Nana's strength. "No, you'll regret this. Because tomorrow morning, I'm calling the district attorney about real estate fraud. Unless—" They leaned forward eagerly. "Unless what?" "Unless you both sign paperwork renouncing any claim to Bella Rosa. Permanently. Walk away now. Pay back whatever you spent, and I won't press charges." "That's blackmail," Anthony protested. "No," I corrected. "That's mercy. More than you deserve. More than you showed Nana." They stormed out, letting the door slam behind them. I stood alone in the quiet restaurant, surrounded by memories and marinara-stained walls. "I promise to protect it," I whispered to the empty room. "Nana and I will." But as I locked up that night, I knew this was just the beginning. My cousins wouldn't give up easily. The developers wouldn't back down without a fight. And I had a software project in Seattle that wouldn't wait forever. Sometimes, protecting what matters means fighting battles on multiple fronts. I was ready. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls and a string of threatening texts from various family members. Word had spread fast, the prodigal granddaughter blocking the multi-million-dollar deal, the power of attorney that changed everything, the cousins who'd been caught trying to sell what wasn't theirs to sell. My Aunt Maria's voicemail was particularly venomous. "Who do you think you are? Those boys were trying to do what's best for everyone. You're just being selfish. Just like your mother." I got dressed methodically, choosing a charcoal gray suit that meant business. Today wasn't about family drama. It was about protecting what mattered. The developer's office occupied the top floor of a gleaming downtown high-rise. Sterling Development Group. Very different from Bella Rosa's worn brick exterior and fading awning. "Ms. Russo." Bradley Sterling himself greeted me, all expensive suit and practiced charm. I was hoping we could discuss this unfortunate situation. I sat across from his massive desk, noting the architectural models of luxury condos displayed like trophies. "The situation," I said calmly, "is that you tried to purchase property from individuals who had no legal right to sell it." He smiled thinly. "We conducted our due diligence. Your cousins presented themselves as executors of the estate. Without checking for existing power of attorney?" I raised an eyebrow. "That's not very diligent." "We've already begun preliminary work," he continued, as if I hadn't spoken. "Permits are being filed. Contractors scheduled. All of which you did illegally," I pointed out, "since you don't actually own the property." He leaned forward. "Ms. Russo, we're prepared to offer you $6 million. That's $1 million more than we offered your cousins. Everyone wins." I stood up, smoothing my jacket. "Mr. Sterling, this meeting was a courtesy. The restaurant isn't for sale. Any permits you filed are being challenged by my lawyers as we speak. I suggest you begin the process of unwinding whatever arrangements you've made." "You're making a mistake," he called as I reached the door. That building is past its prime. The whole neighborhood is changing. You can't stop progress. I turned back. My grandmother turned that restaurant into an institution while your father was still learning to spell development. Progress doesn't always mean destroying history. Back at Bella Rosa, I found Marcus and Anthony waiting, with their lawyer. A nervous-looking man clutching a briefcase. "We're contesting the power of attorney," Marcus announced as I unlocked the door. Nana wasn't in her right mind. She was sick. She was sick, I agreed, leading them inside. But very clear-headed. "Would you like to see the medical evaluation that accompanied the power of attorney? Or the video recording of her explaining her decision?" Their lawyer shifted uncomfortably. "Video recording?" I nodded, pulling out my laptop. Nana was old school about many things, but she understood modern legal requirements. "Shall we?" The video played clearly. Nana in her booth, lucid and firm, explaining exactly why she was granting me power of attorney. "Sophia understands that Bella Rosa isn't just a business. It's our heritage, our family's heart. The others, they'd sell that heart for quick cash." Marcus slammed the laptop shut. "This is bull language." I cut him off. "We're still in Nana's restaurant." Their lawyer cleared his throat. "Ms. Russo, my clients have already spent significant portions of the developer's initial payment. If this sale doesn't go through..." That sounds like a them problem," I replied. "Not a me problem." "We'll go public," Anthony threatened. "Tell everyone how you manipulated a sick old woman." "Go ahead," I challenged. "Explain how you tried to sell her life's work without proper authority. I'm sure the local news would love that story. Greedy grandson's attempt real estate fraud has a nice ring to it." The lawyer pulled my cousins aside, whispering urgently. I could see the moment reality set in, their faces shifting from anger to fear. "The paperwork renouncing your claims," I said, pulling out manila envelopes, "is still on the table. Sign now. Pay back what you spent. And this stays private." "We don't have the money," Marcus admitted. "We invested it." Of course they had. I didn't even want to know in what questionable scheme. "Figure it out," I said firmly. "Sell your cars. Mortgage your houses. But make it right." They signed the papers with shaking hands. Their lawyer reviewed each page, nodding reluctantly at the thoroughness of the documents. After they left, I walked through the restaurant, running my hands along the worn bar where Nana used to tell me stories of the old country. The kitchen where I learned to make pizza dough at age 7. The wall of photos documenting 42 years of family history. My phone buzzed, a text from my project manager in Seattle. "Need you back." Client getting anxious. Reality check. I had a successful career as a software architect. A career that didn't involve marinara sauce or family feuds. A career that was currently hanging by a thread because of all this. The front door chimed. I turned to find Maria, my aunt, standing there with her hands on her hips. "You've ruined those boys," she accused. "Their credit is destroyed. Their reputations." "They ruined themselves," I interrupted, "by trying to steal and sell what wasn't theirs. It's just a restaurant." "No," I said quietly. "It's everything Nana built. Everything she believed in. Everything she protected for us. She's gone, Sophia. Gone. And you're clinging to a building like it's her." I walked to the wall of photos, pointed to one from 1981. "See this? The day Nana took over from her parents. She was a woman, alone, in 1981, trying to run a restaurant when banks wouldn't even give women business loans. She remortgaged her house, worked 18-hour days, built this place into something that supported our entire family." Maria fell silent. "How many times did she help Marcus and Anthony?" I continued. "How many failed businesses did she quietly subsidize? How many family emergencies did she cover with money from this just a restaurant?" "That's different." "No. It's exactly the same. She protected us. All of us. Even when we didn't deserve it. Now it's my turn to protect what she built." Maria's shoulders sagged. "What will you do with it? You have your fancy tech job in Seattle. You can't run a restaurant." I smiled, thinking of the plans already forming. "Watch me." That evening, after Maria left, I sat in Nana's booth with my laptop, looking at my resignation letter to the software company. Sometimes, choices make themselves. My phone buzzed again. A text from Bradley Sterling. Final offer. $7 million. Don't be foolish. I typed back 2 words. Not interested. Then I opened a new document and began to write, Bella Rosa, a modernization plan. Honoring tradition while embracing the future. Because protecting Nana's legacy didn't mean keeping everything exactly the same. It meant ensuring her spirit, her values, her love of feeding people, and bringing them together, lived on. Even if that meant completely changing my own life to do it. 6 months after turning down $7 million, I stood in Bella Rosa's kitchen at 5 a.m., watching our new head chef Marco teach his team Nana's sacred marinara recipe. The same recipe she'd once taught me, standing on a step stool at age 7. The secret, I heard him say, isn't in the ingredients. It's in the patience. The love. You can't rush perfection. Nana would have approved of Marco. He trained at top restaurants in Italy, but understood that sometimes the simplest dishes carried the most meaning. My phone buzzed. Another email from Bradley Sterling's lawyers. This one marked urgent. Final notice. I deleted it without reading. They'd spent months trying to find loopholes in my power of attorney, filing complaints about building code violations, even attempting to have the property rezoned. Nothing stuck. Ms. Russo. Jenny, our new social media manager, approached with a tablet. You need to see this. The local news website was running a feature. Historic restaurants' modern revival, how one woman's stand against developers sparked a community movement. The article detailed how Bella Rosa had become a symbol of resistance against aggressive development, how our modernization efforts had inspired other small businesses in the neighborhood to stand their ground. There were quotes from longtime customers, photos of our new hybrid service model, traditional table service alongside a modern ordering app, one developed using my software background. The comments are amazing, Jenny grinned. People love how we're blending old and new. And we were. I'd kept Nana's core menu but added contemporary touches, installed smart kitchen technology, while preserving the ancient pizza oven, created an online ordering system that somehow made the food taste even more homemade. Revenue had doubled in 6 months. The bell above the door chimed. Maria stood there, looking uncomfortable. "Aunt Maria," I said, surprised. She hadn't spoken to me since that confrontation 6 months ago. "The boys," she began, wringing her hands. "They're in trouble. The developers, they're suing them for breach of contract." Of course they were. Sterling Development Group was nothing if not vindictive. "What do you expect me to do about it?" "They're family," she pleaded, despite everything. I led her to Nana's booth, my unofficial office now. "Tell me honestly, if they had sold this place, if those condos were going up right now, would they have shared that money with the family? Helped anyone but themselves?" She looked down at the worn table, tracing its patterns with her finger. "No," she admitted quietly. "They wouldn't have." "I can't fix their legal problems," I said, "but I can offer them jobs. Real work. Learning the business from the ground up if they're willing." "They're too proud." "Then they're not desperate enough." I cut in. "Nana built this place on hard work, not pride. They want help. They can earn it." The lunch rush was starting. I could hear the kitchen coming alive, smell fresh bread baking, hear the coffee machines humming. "You've done amazing things here," Maria said, looking around the subtle changes, the updated lighting, the restored photographs, the new espresso bar. She would be proud. "She'd be prouder if the family stood together," I replied. "Tell the boys my offer stands, but they have to want to be part of building something, not just profiting from it." After she left, I walked through the dining room, greeting regular customers, checking on new staff. My phone buzzed again, this time a notification from our ordering app. We just hit a new record for advanced bookings. That evening, as the dinner service wound down, I found Marcus sitting at the bar. "Need a job," he mumbled, not meeting my eyes. "They're going to take my house." I poured him a glass of water. "No alcohol until we got this straight. Kitchen needs help. Start tomorrow. 5 a.m. minimum wage. You work your way up like everyone else. I have an MBA. Which hasn't helped you so far, I pointed out. Time to learn the business from the ground up like Nana did. He stared at the water glass for a long moment. I really messed up, didn't I? Yes, I said simply. But Nana believed in second chances. One condition, though, you apologize to her. I led him to her photo on the wall. He stood there, tears finally breaking through his pride. 2 weeks later, Anthony joined too. I put them both through every station: dishes, prep, serving, cleaning. No shortcuts. No special treatment. Just honest work and a gradual understanding of what made Bella Rosa special. 1 year to the day after I'd stopped them from selling, we held a special dinner. The whole family came, even the ones who'd initially sided with the developers. The restaurant was packed, buzzing with energy and aromatic with classic dishes. I stood at the front, surrounded by old photos and new memories, and raised a glass. A year ago, some thought this place was just old bricks and outdated dreams. They saw the land value, but missed the real value: the legacy of a woman who believed in feeding both bodies and souls, who taught us that success isn't about quick profits, but about building something that lasts. Marcus and Anthony, now running the kitchen competently, nodded from their stations. Nana used to say that the secret to her sauce wasn't in the ingredients, but in the love. The same is true for this place. It's not just a restaurant. It's our heart, our history, our future. I unveiled the new addition to our wall of photos: Nana, in her favorite booth, taken during our last conversation. Below it, her words engraved on a small plaque. Some things are worth more than money. Some legacies can't be sold. The developers still own most of the block. Modern condos rise on either side of us. But Bella Rosa stands firm, a testament to tradition in a changing world. Our hybrid model, respecting the past while embracing the future, has become a case study in sustainable small business preservation. I still get offers. Higher numbers. Aggressive tactics. Veiled threats. But now I just smile and send them our menu. Come taste what you can't buy, I tell them. Come understand what you can't build. Sometimes, late at night, when the kitchen is quiet and the dining room is empty, I sit in Nana's booth and feel her presence, not in the sadness of loss, but in the joy of continuation, in the laughter of families sharing meals, in the smell of that sacred marinara sauce, in the way food still brings people together. Marcus and Anthony are learning, slowly, steadily. They're understanding that real value isn't always about numbers on a check. Sometimes it's about the things you can't sell: heritage, history, home. You were right, Nana, I whisper to her photo. Some things are worth fighting for. Some legacies need protecting. And sometimes, the best revenge isn't in winning, but in preserving what matters most. The restaurant's neon sign glows warmly in the night, a beacon of resistance against the sleek modern buildings surrounding us. But we're not just surviving, we're thriving. Because in a world of constant change, people still hunger for authenticity, for tradition, for places that feel like home. Bella Rosa isn't just a restaurant anymore. It's proof that standing your ground doesn't mean standing still. That honoring the past doesn't mean fearing the future. That sometimes the most valuable things in life can't be measured in millions. They can only be measured in memories, in marinara sauce, and in the courage to protect what matters.